I lived a fairly sheltered life. I had no idea about the statistics and how many people were affected by domestic violence. I happened upon a business lunch with some clients of mine who were developers. At that business lunch was the chair of the Sanctuary, the Hills Women's Shelter, and she, at that meeting, speaking to the developers in a hope of getting their support of the Sanctuary, she told us about stats. And as a litigation lawyer, my clients have only ever seen me with my armour on, but her talk over lunch reduced me to tears. So statistics like 1 in 2 women who seek refuge from domestic violence are turned away. Many women and children sleeping in their cars, or if they don't want to sleep in the car, they're staying at home with their abusive partner, or they're sleeping on the streets. I didn't know at that point that women could be beaten for not washing their hair properly, or not making their bed properly, or for cooking dinner the wrong way. And after that meeting, I then also had a discussion with Annabelle Daniel, who is the CEO of Women's Community Shelters. And that organisation is a charitable organisation who goes around and identifies communities where there's a need for domestic violence, for shelters because of the rates of domestic violence. And from that, they find some local champions who will open up a shelter. The shelters are primarily community run and funded, and I happen to be one of those local champions. So that's how our shelter came about. Women's community shelters are based on people volunteering their time to help. If not me, then who? Together with my board, we've all stepped forward and taken on the challenge. Yes, I could have given some money, but I didn't realise that Penrith has the second highest reported rate of domestic violence in the Sydney metropolitan area. Having come from that area all my life, I had the skills, I guess, not so much the know-how of domestic violence or that space, but certainly the skills as a lawyer that one might need to progress this kind of project. And it's just given me back the fire in my belly, I think, to be able to help people who necessarily, can't help themselves. So I think in doing that, I found something that I didn't necessarily know that I was looking for. While they're with us in their 3-month stay, we'll provide full wraparound services in terms of casework, helping them find a job if they don't have one, getting the kids settled back into school, helping them with their homework and that kind of thing. The stereotype I think that we all have in our minds is someone who doesn't have a job, who is of low socioeconomic status. I was surprised to find out that in my discussions with women's community shelters, they have, it doesn't discriminate. Domestic violence does not discriminate. So they have had through their doors at any one point doctors and lawyers and nurses from the entire scale. And in fact, one of their shelters, their first shelter, was actually in Manly, where one wouldn't think they would have a DV problem, but they are absolutely up there in terms of reported incidences. It was very humbling, I think, for me when I first went to the shelter after it had opened, and without going too far into the house, because it's now a home, it's not for me to go in, but while I was there in the office having a chat to my shelter manager, I could hear the noises of a baby. She's laughing and the mum was playing with her, and the baby and the mum are there playing free from fear, and I could hear the relief and the joy and the happiness in this mum and baby completely normal playing together. So that in itself actually reduced me to tears, knowing that I've gotten that baby out of that dangerous environment and put them in this space which is safe and free from harm. And eventually, when they're ready, after their roughly 3 months is over, they will then transition out into a home where we will find, in terms of suitable rent space and affordable accommodation for them. Part of establishing the house, so once we'd secured the lease and the development consent, was making it shelter ready. So that involved putting in full security systems, including video surveillance and back-to-base alarm systems, having a chat with the local police to make sure that they knew that we were there. Also, we've got security shutters put in and new locks on doors and all of that kind of stuff. And that has actually all been donated in kind from local tradespeople. So local businesses all banded together to help us out. We also had the house fully painted. Electricians have come through and put all new light switches and fans and air conditioning and all things like that. And that was all done in kind, both in terms of their time and also product. It certainly opened up my eyes in terms of the needs of our community and helping others. Separate to that though, it's also opened my eyes in terms of the generosity that is available in our community. Penrith does not have a reputation, I guess, for being of a high socioeconomic status, but the kindness and the donations that have come flowing through the door has just astounded me. So the budget of the Haven is $500,000 annually, and we need to raise that money. So Women's Community Shelters does assist with part of that funding, but the balance comes from our community, and the generosity and willingness to help from our community, as well as local businesses and external businesses, and also schools and individuals, has just astounded me.